Today we got a little package from Last Chance Archery. Apparently they had something go wrong with production on their draw boards from a certain date and time. I'll post it on the screen here if I can find the email. Something inside the crank for the Last Chance Archery draw board apparently wears on the string incorrectly and can cause it to wear and snap over time. So if you have one, you can either send it in or they'll send you a repair kit for free. So I felt like doing it myself, so I'll show you guys how to do it too. Alright, out of the package we get a little card with a QR code to watch a video and some other warnings and stuff. I get a little bag. I haven't used mine much, so it's not worn. I don't see any spots where it could be worn, but I'm going to replace it just because. And then I'll keep the old one. So this is the stuff that you're gonna need. They say use some different stuff, but you know, pretty much the same thing. Obviously you're gonna need the repair kit. It's got the new string, some new spacers, and a new screw in there. You need a lighter, a standard set of Allen wrenches. T-handles would probably be better for this. Knife or scissors, and then a pair of pliers. Real quick, just in case you guys don't know how this draw board works, you have to have a Last Chance press for this to work. You put your crank in here, and then you put a little bar on the side. Sometimes you have to stretch it out so you get the right length, but you just rotate this handle to loosen it. It comes out this way. It's got a pulley here. You hook this onto your bowstring, and then it ratchets on the way back, so it sets it. Something in here causes wear on the string. That's a problem they had. At least they came out and said it. They sent the kit for free, so, and they'll fix it for free. You just do whatever you want to do if you want to fix it on your own. But this peg that fits in here is really tight, and I don't really want to pound it out, but these 3 black screws right here are what hold this case onto that mounting bracket. So if we take these 3 out, this whole aluminum thing will come off. Right now I'm going to break these black bolts loose. They loosened up pretty easy. That one's a little tougher. T-handles would be optimal for this instead of this thing. This one was pretty loose too. There. And now, case is off. Bracket, you can see how this mounts on here. There's a little input where it just sits in there. And those screws hold it in. And this one bolt holds the cap on this case. So now we have to take this whole thing apart. Alright, so what we're going to do right now is take out this center bolt. It's the same size as the 2 other black bolts you just took out. This one might be a little stiff. You're going to have to hold the handle while you do it. Alright, now it's starting to loosen up. This bolt does have a buttload of thread lock on it, so that's focus. That's probably why. It's a bunch of white pasty stuff. Alright, so now we have that bolt out. There's a little washer right here on the top. We're going to remove that. Ew. It's icky. And this is going to allow us to take this handle off. That thing is really on there. Can't get the handle off. Put a dent in my sticker. Alright. I have a hammer. I have all the screws out of the center of this. There's only one, but this might be part of the recall or whatever, because they don't want to come out. So I'm just going to put it here like this and just go at it. This thing, I don't know, it's like awkward to hold. I'm not sure why I can't get the handle out. I'm going to crank this bolt out now that holds on the handle. So I can take this black piece off so I can get the handle arm maybe to come off. Might be easier. There we go. Probably just fucked up the inside more than I needed to, but this goes on to that. I don't know why. Oh, there's a bunch of thread lock that leaked out from around that bolt, and it got all around that, and it tied these two together pretty much. Like,
wow.
That explains it. I have to clean that off. This metal steel spacer came out. Keep that. Now we can take out the aluminum bolt. Get in frame, come on. There we go. Now we can take this one out. I was gonna have to get the sledgehammer for a minute. By sledgehammer, I mean my... Alright. Aluminum bolt removed. Base cover off. It's got this black spacer in it. Now you have access to your crank gear. You tip this over, and that leaves your gear tooth. Keep that. Comes out with a keyed washer. See a little flat spot in the bottom? Keep that. And then you got this white plastic washer, and keep that for now. And this little rubber piece goes right behind your gear teeth right here, or your gear tooth latch, so keep that. Also, it helps, I forgot, if you stretch this out in the beginning, it helps out a lot. Might be why it wouldn't come out easy. Now push this up, and you can take this black part out. This is the spool that the spring sits in right here. I know I'm not being very handy with my hands, but spool. Keep that for now. I don't know if you guys can see in there, but that little abrasion spot right there where this thing is exactly what they're talking about while they're trying to fix this. So there's a little end in here. On the other side of this, it's just a tied knot, and it's flamed so that it spreads out like how you fire a D-loop. So now you gotta pick that out of there. I might actually get my picks. That might be easier than trying to use pliers. Alright, so I got my little hook pick here, and I also realized there's a little metal sparkly stuff, so something's definitely grinding around in there, so glad I'm getting this fixed now. People might say it's a bad job board, but hey, at least their company stood up to their failures and replaced everything for free. Yeah, I'm just going to pull this up right here. I'm just going to pull it up and cut it, and then I can push it through. I don't have to worry about it. Snip, 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 snip. Come on. There we go. Now you can pull the string out through the black rubber hole, like that. And then you can maybe push this through the rest of the way. I'm going to see if I can hook it down into there. Yeah, that string is very frayed and beat up right there. See that little knot in there? I got it out now, so I'm going to hook it with my pliers while I still can. Grab it, pull it out. Now you got that little burnt tab thing. Come on, focus. You know what I mean. Yeah, there you go. So, now you can push this side in. There's actually 3 holes in the block right here. There's another one of those little things burnt in right there. So you gotta push the string in from this side a little bit. And then frick around with your frickin' hooks again. That one came out a lot easier. Now you can pull it all the way through. Got it wrapping around everything. Like that. Throw that away. Now you're left with the peg in here. Push it out the back. Finally, like that. Now you're left with the casing with a little plastic washer in the back. Just wanted to mention real quick, off of this gear here, there's 2 white washers on it. And as you can kind of see there, I don't know if this thing will show it. Come on. Anyway, there's a lot of metal sploogey there, so clean all that off. If you have some, dang, I messed up my Lancaster sticker. Damn it. Anyway, if you have a bunch of that stuff, like I do, probably not a bad idea to wipe all the metal gunk off so it doesn't contaminate the rest of the shit that's in there. Now, y'all are probably going to be yelling at me like, oh, there's oil on that and stuff. It's like, yeah, there is. There's oil all over this stuff. But easy substitute would be the same oil you could use in nailing guns. Nailing gun oil will work in this, and honestly, probably gun oil. As long as there's something in there to kind of keep the metal from going everywhere and ripping itself apart, that's probably a win. I'm also just going to wipe out the inside of the case here, like this, with a towel, because there's a lot of metal bits in there too. I almost didn't accept the recall because I've only had this for a couple months, and then I seen it was manufactured within the date span, so I was like, oh, I better do it. But after seeing how messed up it was, because I've only used this drawboard like 10 times maybe. I don't use that drawboard this much. Seeing how little I used it and how bad that was messed up in there, kind of glad I did, so never skip out on the recalls. Now this part has got stuff all over it. It's got metal stuff and ooey gooey thread lock all over it. So you really need to wash that off, and if you have a file or maybe some light sandpaper, probably a good idea to give this thing a little brush off, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it with my Leatherman because that's all I have. Now I got my cross file. I'm just gonna lightly scrape off this stuff. I got the hard cuts that were right in here off. I'm just gonna go get some light sandpaper to get this so I don't scratch this up too much up here. Alright, I can't find any sandpaper, but razor blade. Just gonna scrape it off. This is gonna be real tedious. Probably shouldn't scrape it into my nice clean block. The video they made will probably be a little bit better than this one, but they didn't have all this crap right here. There's actually some metal sticking up on the thread on this right here. So I'm gonna file that off real quick. That already fits on there a lot better with the handle. There's some stuff also on the handle that I'm gonna try and get out. So I got that mostly cleaned off the way. There's a little tiny lip right there that I think happened from hitting it with the hammer. So I'm gonna hit that with the file real quick. This is what I used to wipe off all those parts with. So you can see there's a lot of metal shards around in there. So alright, so now we're gonna start reassembling everything. First thing you're gonna do is this old spool right here, throw it away. And this old screw that had all the shit on it, throw it away. Now it's time to get out our new string. Pick up everything out of the thing here. We got our new string, 2 black washers, spacers, whatever, and a new handle bolt. Set that aside. We're gonna unravel the new string. And there's one end that's already tied and burnt, and there's one end that's just cut straight. I don't know how good you can see that. Cut in straight. You're going to take that bigger hole that's drilled into the aluminum, and you're going to put the cut end through that hole. Pull it all the way through until that cut, burnt end seats down in there. And really make sure that gets seated down in there good. Now what you're going to do is you see the small little drilled out hole in the center here. After you get this side seated all the way down, you're going to go back to that cut end of this and finesse it in there so it's going through the center. Come on. There. So after you get that through, just go ahead, pull that all the way through so that it looks like this on that side. Focus. Come on. That's seated in there all the way like that. It's coming just around the inside like that. Pull it all the way and make sure it is seated nice and tight. Now what you want to do is go back outside to your cut end. You're going to put it through your pulley. It really doesn't matter which way you do this because it'll spin around and do all that stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. After you got that all figured out over here, you're going to take one of your spacers, one of the black spacers that came in the repair kit. You're going to drop it in all the way. You can get it past that little lip where that rope is. So it's seated down in there all the way. And then you're going to take your spool and going from the back, press it all the way up. It's going to be a little tight with those washers in there. You can take your pick, make sure it's sit down in there all the way. So now it's like this again. So now that you have this looking like that, you're going to take your other black washer and just drop it on there so that it sits down in there. It's just going to sit against these bumps on the rope here, and that's kind of your new spool. Now you're going to take this washer that has that little flat spot in the bottom. I don't know how good you guys can see that. Little flat spot in the bottom. Line it up with the flat spot on here and drop it down in there the rest of the way. Now right here, I got some Hope's 9 gun oil that's kind of spilled out because it doesn't have a good cap. I'm just going to dab a little thing on my pinky. I'm just going to put it around the center rod just to have a little bit of something oil in there. Next, we're going to take one of the white plastic washers, drop it on top of the metal one. Right, put another little dab of oil on my pinky, touch the sides of the washer around the edges. And then next, very important, we're going to put the gear in. So when you're looking at this gear when you put it in, make sure that the spines on the top are pointed toward the left, so that if it was rotating like a blade, it's going clockwise. So make sure they're pointed to the left on the top of the gear. Drop it onto the rod. Get another little dab of oil and just dab, 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 dab. Doesn't say to do this in their video, but ain't gonna hurt nothing. If anything, it's gonna help it quite a bit. Finally, you're gonna take your last white clear plastic washer and drop it on top of there too. Now you got that in. Now you're gonna take this little rubber piece that came out of the corner of the casing here. You're just gonna pop that in there. I'm gonna try and hold it up so you guys can see. So now it should look like this. That little rubber piece goes up into here. So next, you're gonna have to take that little key that looks like a little key. It's the ratchet lock for that tooth gear. You're gonna point it so that the angled side right here is pointed down. You're just gonna drop it in there right on top of that hole so that it looks like this. You see how it points like into the gears and it catches it and keeps it from spinning backwards? That's what it needs to look like. Finally, you're going to take that big metal washer, looks like this, about that thick. You're going to drop it onto the end like that. And then you're going to take your faceplate. I don't remember which one was the outside. Oh, that one is, because there's a little dent on the top. So it shouldn't matter which way this goes on now. All you want to do is just slide the faceplate on like that. Now you're going to put this little aluminum screw that was in that corner all by itself. You're going to want to put that one back in. Always start it by hand. You can seat that all the way down. Don't tighten it yet in case you got to move the faceplate to line up the other holes to mount it to the bracket that is pressed into the boat press. Now it's time to put the handle back on. This one, big boy. So you can see this dial in here is keyed, and so is this. So you have to line those up. Make sure the orange label is facing out on this. They should just press together. Shouldn't be nearly as hard to put it on as it was to take it off. You're going to take your new bolt in your little baggie and get it out. I'm going to wipe this off because it's all nasty. Now, this little metal piece I forgot. You're going to put that on before you put the bolt on. That should make everything nice and snug. I'm just stupid. Once you get that snug, I'm going to go about half a turn more, like that. A little bit snugger. And it should start ratcheting. Now, that one feels like it's got a lot of tension on it, so I'm actually going to back it out just a little bit. Of course, this is probably going to wear a little bit once you get it back on the actual press. So now we're back over here. You can see where this sets in right there. You're going to put the aluminum screw at the top right if you're a right-handed bow shooter, and that's what you have your press set up for. You're going to take the longer black screws, send them through, thread them in by hand. Now you're going to take your Allen wrenches and finish these all the way in. It's okay to get these ones real nice and tight because you don't want this piece coming out of there. Get them snug, turn, snug, turn, snug, turn. You want to do them all about the same time. I'm going to go back real quick, tighten up this aluminum bolt that I left loose. I want to get it super tight because it does have a stop on it. You don't want to strip that out. Put the black handle back on. Get your Allen wrenches again, put it in the end, and just start to thread it in. Get your selector bolt up there, lock it down. Nice. It's got a little bit of play in it, but not bad. Crank this all the way in now. And give it a nice tug. So I can pull it out just a little bit. I'm going to wait and get a bow in here and see how tight it is, because you can see how when you just pull this handle back it starts letting out. That's all set on tension, and that depends on how tight this bolt is. I'm going to throw my bow in the drawboard real quick and see how bad it is and if I need to tighten it or not. Got my brother's Elite bow. It's set at about 50 pounds, give or take. It's set pretty good right there. I'm going to tighten it just a little bit, because this bow's set pretty light, but I'm going to take all the tension off first. Before I do that, to hold the handle to tighten this, I'm going to tighten it about a quarter turn. That's pretty stiff on the release. I'm actually going to loosen it just a hair. I'm only going to loosen it just a hair. Alright, that feels pretty good to what I remember it being. Sounds like everything's ratcheting good, so I won't worry about anything else, I don't think. Oh, my hair looks horrible. Jeez. Alright, I still look horrible. Alright, we just finished up replacing string and the parts in our Last Chance Archery drawboard. If you guys had the same problem, you probably got an email about it, and then you just needed proof of purchase and what the serial number was to see where it was made or what time it was made. You'll have gotten to fill out a form, whether you wanted to repair it or you could send it into them. Either way, they sent you the parts or did it for free. I just chose to do it because I got nothing else to do, and then I could make this video. Sorry if it wasn't helpful. I hope it was, in case you guys got stuck on a little something or just wanted something to watch. Everything seems to be working fine. Hopefully nothing blows up in my face. Doesn't seem like it will, but I'll let you know. Thanks for watching me mess around with a bunch of mechanical parts. I probably messed something up, but we tried to fix it, so thank you.